T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
It's T plus 40 seconds, and we've just had liftoff of our Falcon 9 vehicle, taking our Starlink payload to its targeted deployment orbit. We are now throttling down and throttling back up in preparation for max Q, which is coming up here in about 10 seconds or so. Max Q is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle sees throughout ascent, so this is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see. Should hear that call out in about 5 seconds.
Maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out for max Q, confirmation that we've just passed through max Q. Coming up in about a minute, we will have 3 events in rapid succession. The first of which being main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO. This is where all 9 of our M1D engines shut off and slow the vehicle down for the following event, which is stage separation. And that's when the first stage separates from the second stage. And then finally, the lighting of our second stage MVAC engine, which we call SES-1, or second engine start 1. Now, if you've been following our Starlink missions, you know that we've reduced the number of burns on the second stage for these missions from 2 burns down to just 1 single burn. This allows the second stage to provide 70% of the velocity needed for this mission, which allows the first stage to use less fuel and thus making first stage recovery much easier. So today we will again only be doing 1 burn of that second stage engine. Again, coming up in about 10 seconds are those 3 events: MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
MECO 1.
Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition.
And there we've just had MECO and stage separation. That stage separation confirms the successful 5th use of our first stage booster. And you can see on your right screen that second stage MVAC engine lighting up and taking that second stage to its targeted orbit. We're just a few seconds away from fairing deploy. Again, this fairing was used once before on our very first Starlink mission. And there is the visual confirmation of fairing deploy. So this means that we've successfully reused this fairing. So now let's see if Miss Tree and Miss Chief can catch those fairing halves today. We likely won't have that live view since fairing touchdown won't happen past the conclusion of this morning's webcast, but stay tuned to our social media for updates later this morning.
Stage 2 is on a nominal trajectory.
Stage 1
engine burn startup.
Stage 2 continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
Stage 1, entry burn shut down.
Our entry burn has just completed. The next step is our landing burn. It's about 90 seconds from now. In terms of velocity reduction, with the remaining velocity, the denser part of the atmosphere actually slows our Falcon 9. We're about 10 seconds away from that landing burn call out. we'll sit tight and see if we can get any feed of that event.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
We're still waiting on call-out and confirmation for that first stage, but that's our secondary mission. Right now we'll focus on our primary mission with that second stage and our Starlink satellites. We're waiting for that confirmation of second engine cutoff.
We have Seco on.
Or a sun visor, but for the satellite. The sunshade option is slated for a future Starlink launch, and all of these efforts are ongoing and will continue to report results back as we receive them. We're now coming up on deployment of our Starlink satellites, so let's listen in for that call out. We should be able to see separation live, so we'll wait for that live view.
Payload separation confirmed.
So we did get confirmation of deployment, and there is that live view. So you can see on your screen the satellites are slowly separating away from the second stage, and over the next few weeks they will distance themselves from each other and eventually use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their final orbit.
And with that successful deployment, that brings our webcast to a close for today. To recap our mission, we had a successful liftoff of Falcon 9 from Kennedy Space Center at 8:16 a.m. Eastern.